Welcome to this explainer. Today we are breaking down a seriously practical whiteboard masterclass that is designed to completely change how you view your earning potential. We're talking about breaking out of that exhausting cycle of just working harder and harder and finally shifting toward working drastically smarter. The goal here is to exponentially scale your income, literally multiplying it by 10. If you have ever felt like your effort just isn't matching your paycheck, well, you're in the right place. We're going to unpack this whole concept using a really clear step-by-step framework.
Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the wealth mindset secret, how to inventory your skills, the exact money creation formula, some real proof through a case study, and finally, how to find your highest value. This isn't just abstract motivation, it's a concrete blueprint.
Okay, let's jump right into Section 1, the wealth mindset secret.
So, I want you to think about this because it's a super frustrating scenario. Why do two people working the exact same 8-hour shift with the exact same intense work ethic end up with completely different financial results? You know what I mean, right? One person stays stuck in the same spot year after year, while the other just seems to grow richer by the minute. It's maddening. Well, this masterclass actually has a brilliant explanation for why that happens. It basically boils down to leverage and information. It's kind of like a master fisherman. They don't just toss a net blindly into the ocean. They already know exactly where the fish are. The wealthy have access to what we can call a secret room. Imagine a hidden room where conglomerates and billionaires sit around sharing systems, strategies, and information that the average person just doesn't even know exists. Because they have that intel, the wealthy worker's single step forward is the equivalent of 100 steps for the average worker. Their effort is completely maximized by systems.
So how do we start building that kind of leverage for ourselves? That brings us right to Section 2. Inventory your skills. Picture a whiteboard in your mind, split right down the middle. On the left side, you've got your skills. That's the raw value you bring to the table. On the right side, you've got the money, the reward. Now here is the absolute fundamental rule you have to understand. Money will only flow to the right side of the board after you've established clear, high-value skills on the left side. The value always has to come first.
To give you a concrete idea of what this looks like, let's look at the instructor's own skill inventory. First up, social media. They have 9 years of experience as a content creator, meaning they deeply understand algorithms and how to actually monetize attention. Next is networking. They've built real connections with top creators and even billionaire partners. And third, public speaking. They have a charismatic, confident delivery. You need to sit down and honestly list out your own strengths just like this. What are you uniquely good at?
But hey, what if you're looking at your own mental whiteboard and it is just completely blank? What if you feel like you have zero monetizable skills right now? Well, the reality is you can't brainstorm an empty board. If you don't have the skills, you have to focus on learning them immediately. Whether it's cooking, digital marketing, trading, it doesn't matter. You just have to commit to building up that left side of the board.
And honestly, building a skill is more accessible now than it has ever been. The Masterclass uses the Elevate app as a great example of this. It's an all-in-one ecosystem where you can learn the high-income skill of trading. The instructor points out that it offers over 300 instruments, highly transparent analysis, and a demo account where you can practice without risking your real cash. The broader point here isn't just about trading, though. It's that the tools to build your skills are out there waiting for you.
All right, so once you actually have those skills, how do you turn them into cash flow? Welcome to Section 3, the money creation formula.
The amount of money you make is dictated by two very specific variables. Variable 1 is the size of the problem. This is the scale and the severity of the issue you're choosing to solve. For example, many businesses in Indonesia have incredible products but terrible marketing. They just don't know how to use social media effectively. That is a massive, widespread problem. And naturally, solving a massive problem commands a much larger payout. Variable 2 is the value of your solution. It is definitely not enough to just point out a big problem. Your specific answer to it must be incredibly effective, practical, and comprehensive. So the crucial takeaway is this. When you combine a massive problem with a highly valuable, undeniable solution, your earning potential absolutely skyrockets. Now, to prove this isn't just theory, let's look at Section 4, Real Proof, with a case study on the SSM Bootcamp. So SSM identified that massive problem we just talked about, businesses desperately needing social media marketing. Their highly valuable solution was a rigorous bootcamp. It featured live classes and direct one-on-one mentoring, running for 2 months with 16 deeply practical meetings. Because the value they provided was so extraordinarily high, they could confidently charge 10 million rupiah per person.
Furthermore, because they chose the right sector, specifically the service and education sector, the profit margins were incredibly high. They operated at a staggering 80 to 90% profit margin. This really highlights why choosing the right industry for your skill is just as absolutely crucial as having the skill itself. And the results? For their latest batch, they fully booked 150 students. At 10 million rupiah each, to put that into perspective, that generated 1.5 billion rupiah in revenue from a single batch. That right there is the explosive power of having a clear skill, solving a massive problem, and providing a high-value solution. And once you have a winning formula, you don't just stop. You scale. SSM started with a core service and bootcamp, but from there they expanded into a digital app and a community, they published books, and they're even launching physical products. Once you find a highly profitable sector, you can endlessly scale your impact just by creating more avenues to deliver your solution.
Which brings us to the final, and honestly, maybe the most vital segment of our explainer today. Section 5, Find Your Highest Value.
The masterclass shares this really powerful story about a father teaching his son about self-worth. He tells his kid to take an old, dusty, seemingly useless family car to 3 completely different buyers just to see what they'll offer.
First, the son takes it to the standard local car showroom right across the street. The dealer takes a quick look and offers him 80 million rupiah. It's a completely average, uninspired offer based purely on face value.
Then, the father tells him to take it down the street to the scrapyard. The workers there don't even see a car, they literally just see metal parts. They weigh the metal and offer him even less, 60 million rupiah. Here, the car's perceived value actually drops because it's being judged purely by the raw weight of its dismantled pieces. Finally, the father tells his son to take it to a specialized vintage store. The owner's eyes light up immediately. They recognize the car as an incredibly rare collector's item, noting that there are maybe only 10 left in the entire world. They offer him a staggering 1 billion rupiah right on the spot. It's the exact same car, but in a completely different environment.
And that is the ultimate takeaway of this explainer. You have to find the place where you are valued the highest, surrounded by people who support your growth, so your effort is never wasted. You could have all the skills in the world, but if you're in the wrong environment, you are always going to be vastly underpaid. So I want to leave you with a question to really think about today. Look at your current job, your current clients, your environment. Are you currently selling your hard-earned skills as scrap metal, or have you finally found the market that treats you like the billion rupiah vintage treasure you actually are? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll see you next time.